This is ENX2 coming at you, pre-recorded as always. We got another good reaction to last podcast. They're both doing better than I expected to do, so that's good. I want to continue that, so let's try and see if we can get a continuous output of episodes. But otherwise, welcome to NX2's new podcast. I'm Chris, the social media and content specialist here at NX2. And I'm here with Joe, our amazing chief operating officer. It would be difficult to describe each and everything he does, but the thing I've seen him do every day is take care of the team and keep us in top shape. Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Chris.
I asked Sarah this too. How was your first week having everyone back in the office? Because you've been in and out a couple times.
Yeah, I've been in and out, but this week has just been, I don't know. It's been like, I described it earlier this week as like a first day of school. Coming back, I had nerves. And as you can tell, I had the gray hair. I've been working for a long time, so don't know where it came from. But I think, the minute we settled in, it felt like it's like riding a bike. You just get back on and you start going. So I feel like the energy is here, the creativity is here. Of course, we had Bagel Friday today, so it's always good. So, but no, excited to be back. Excited to see everyone's faces. I just miss the banter and everything. Even this morning, my cheeks hurt from laughing this morning. So.
Yeah. Oh, for one thing, I really appreciate the bagels as someone who tried to sneakily eat more than one, probably more than I should have. But it's fine. Apparently, I was the only one who's that into the plain bagel, so that was good for me.
Yeah, well, I had one. I had a plain bagel. So
you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was four.
We were vibing this morning. So.
Yeah. Yeah, as we conversated about whether or not you should put a Pop-Tart in the toaster.
Listen,
remember? Yeah.
I thought Eric and I were friends until I found out she doesn't toast her Pop-Tarts. I didn't even think that was a thing. I don't know.
I mean, I kind of agree with her. I can't really do warm jelly. Nah. Anything that's it's a halfway between solid and liquid, and if it's anything other than cold, I'm not about it. That's me. If it's a Pop-Tart that's mostly bread or kind of breading, I can kind of go with that. Anything that has jello, any kind of gel on the inside, no.
Listen, this is the cinnamon sugar Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
It's like being LeBron James and deciding not to play basketball. That's the equivalent of not toasting a Pop-Tart. Eric and I are done. We're not talking anymore.
Okay. I kind of wish you said Michael Jordan, and then I would have pointed out that he played baseball.
So
see. Did you consciously pick that?
Well, two things. One, I didn't want to show my age, so I wanted to throw LeBron in there.
Well, Michael Jordan is still everyone knows Michael Jordan. I feel like.
Yeah, I know, but they're like, oh, he's older. But the other was I had the quick memory of the baseball. I'm like, oh yeah, and whether or not he was forced to quit basketball or quit on his own, that's another podcast.
Okay, that's a whole podcast about Michael Jordan. All right, and continuing the theme of last episode, kind of keeping about you. Can you tell us about how you got started at NX2?
Yeah. So, I've been here now. It's got to be about 10 months. Yeah, it seems like yesterday. I actually knew Nicole. Probably met her 15, 20 years ago, and when she was doing some nonprofit work, and she was my aunt introduced us. She's just a great person, and kind of one of those things of one day I know we'll eventually end up working together in some way, and we'll see how the universe works out. And in some crazy backward journey, my background and degree is actually in marketing. But it took me multiple stops, and started at Wilkes University at the what is now the Institute for Public Policy. Did some work in the Pennsylvania House in the Senate as a chief of staff and director for a local member. Did some work in the private side a little bit, but really honed in my skills at the Wilkes-Barre Chamber, which is now the Wyoming Valley Chamber. I was running their economic development. I was VP there as executive director of Connect, which is a program we launched there, and finally kind of got to the point where Nicole and I had a coffee and said, let's do it. And I jumped at it. And so this is, quite honestly, it's interesting. I mentioned I did higher ed. I've been in nonprofit, worked in government. And so now this is kind of the fourth leg here in the private side. So joined 10 months ago and haven't looked back since.
Okay, that's kind of crazy to me because I don't know why, but in my head I thought it seemed like you've been here forever. Because you seem like you fit perfectly in this well-constructed puzzle. As Nicole used to say, it's the F1 team.
Yeah, Formula One. That's all she ever says.
Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. I actually didn't, that's a lot of stuff I didn't know.
Yeah.
Is there anything like you still aspire to do eventually? Because like one of the big things that Nicole really touted to me as part of the NX2 experience is that NX2 is not in any way kind of perpendicular to our personal goals. It's parallel. There's no reason why we can't all succeed and the company succeed at the same time. Even if it seems like they're not necessarily crossing over as much, there's no reason they still can't somehow come to help each other in small and big ways.
Absolutely. So that was one of the shared goals. I mean, to take a position like this, it was not like a quick coffee meeting, as I somewhat described there. This was several nights we met and talked about this thing and what her goals were, and where I was at, and I think there was one common theme that we agree on. It's about personal and professional growth. Like that was going to be our foundation, and not that it wasn't prior to me, but like that was going to be, if you want to say, like almost our mission statement. Like this company is about helping our team grow personally and professionally. That does two things. I think one, obviously the benefit to the company, right? It helps you expand your skills. It starts to add new layers to the company. But at the end of the day, it's a commitment that I think is critical to develop, someone such as yourself. Of a lot of you coming in, you're young. This is maybe your first job, and it can help set the tone for what you want to do and where you want to be. And look, we would love everybody here to work at NX2 forever, but we are realists and understand that this could be that stepping stone for what you want your career to be and the impact you can make. And for us, we want to play a role, no matter how big or small, in that, of helping you grow and find the skill set, find your passion, and go where you need. And during your time here at NX2, know that we'll be able to do great things like you're doing with the podcast right now. It's something that I think that's the product of our vision of doing this, focus on the personal and professional development.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. The idea of like this podcast being a kind of way people look at a step forward for a person. And it's always really nice to know that the company isn't necessarily like a kind of corporate entity that you don't really understand, but it's still like, hey, we're investing in people just like we invest in our technology or our services.
Yeah. And I think, again, yeah, and Nicole's vision, we always talk about it, and this goes back to my background of working in economic development and entrepreneurial development. But a company can go on a pathway, right? Mm-hmm. Nicole could keep doing what she's doing right now for the rest of her life and be very good. She's got an amazing son going out to Pepperdine in a few months.
Yeah, she's done today.
Yeah, graduating today. She's done very well for herself, but she's not satisfied with that. And she's come to that point where she's like, okay, I don't want to stay on that path. I want to go this way. And that takes a whole other thought process and element. And so that's, part of the reason that I took the job and saw where she wanted to go and said, okay, let's build it. And you can't get there overnight. It takes first to build your foundation, build that strong team. I think the thing that I love the most about everybody on this team right now is there's not just one skill set you have. Everybody on this team has multiple skill sets that could pinch hit when needed, of helping with the content side or social or whatever it may be. And I think I love that the most. But for us, where we want to go, it's such a key ingredient because this thing will only continue to build out. The goal next year is to double our team by the end of next year. And so for that, we need to make sure we've got the right people, the right energy, and start to build out the departments in a way that, as you come in, that you're aspiring to be, a director or a leader within a department here. So excited with the energy that Nicole brings, but I can't tell you how appreciative and excited I am to work with all of you. You guys are so creative, and I love the foundation that we've set.
I'm kind of speechless because it's a very in-depth idea of where the company is going, but also where it wants to be. I couldn't agree more with the idea that everyone here has multiple skill sets. There's really, I don't think, even if they're being here only I've only been here a month and a half, it feels like at this point. I want to say. And I easily list off a list of skills that each person has. Like, no one has one thing that they're only doing. Everyone's got a bit of hands in everything. And I think that as we grow bigger, that's going to be really useful for when not necessarily everyone's going to be working on every piece of content that they may have used to as we're like expanding and getting more and more clients. But that only means that we all understand whenever someone's needs help or kind of needs a bit of advice or is just trying to get into the rhythm of things if they're a new person coming on. I think that only makes the team stronger.
Yeah, I agree, and I think actually to go all the way back to your initial question too. Think about our team meeting this week. Normally on a Monday, but with the holiday, it was Tuesday.
Yeah.
There was energy in there, and the creativity is just it's so there, and I think it's even though it's a product of everyone's skill set being not only coming in with what you guys have the great job that Mariah does, our talent coordinator, of pushing different LinkedIn learning courses to everyone and allowing us to grow again in that personal development, whether it's time management courses or things like that, but taking SEO courses, taking all these different things through LinkedIn learning. It continues to grow us, but you could see the confidence in the room on Tuesday of thinking of new ideas for clients and how we want to attack some things. And I think again, that's the vibe that we were going for. It sets this tone on a go forward as we continue to hire. That everyone who comes on, it's this other layer that has been added by each team member that we've brought in. What you're bringing again, not on the content side. You're a published author, right? And now you're running the podcast side, like within a month of being here. Katie, same thing. Katie out in New York City yesterday taking headshots. She's on with a client right now getting a video set. I mean, she's starting to go, and quite honestly, her background's in social media. Like, she just can bring different layers. And so what I love is it continues to elevate the company, each person we add. And so when they come, when the new hires come in, we'll probably be hiring someone in the next month. It's like, it's just an established bar that keeps getting raised, and I love it. Because if you truly want to go and that map behind you, which by the way, I'm kind of embarrassed, we have a lot more states to paint in there since COVID. My daughter and I actually made that on the wall. We have a lot of states to paint in. I can see Louisiana right under your headphones there. Yeah. That's one in particular I got to paint in. But if we're going to fill in that map, which is our goal, to have a client in every state, it's going to take a team that is passionate and creative and just not satisfied with where we're at, and it requires that good strong foundation, and that team is here right now.
I think so. I guess I don't think I've ever given background to the map behind me. I guess for anyone who wants to know, that this is a map that has all the states within it we have clients in, and the goal is to have at least one client in each of the 50 states, and that will help us get to the eventual goal of, as Nicole likes to say all the time, is get like an office in California, and I really believe we can do that. And this is just kind of like our soft measurement of how close we are to getting there.
Yeah, and I think too, when I think back on it, what I love is, what is ENX2 known for? We in the legal marketing profession, we're a disruptor in there. We're good. That's why a lot of those states are colored in. We're known for our ability to help firms grow, to generate the leads that they're looking for, their return on investment. But what I love is our portfolio has expanded greatly across multiple industries, especially since COVID. I just think of these last couple of weeks of launching or about to launch sites for architects, for healthcare, for construction firms, for startups. In the tech space, our ability to go cross industry has really expanded. So, I should put like a separate column up there and have all the industries listed and start painting them in as well. But it's good to walk into that room where you're at and see that map, and we could be satisfied. Like I said, we've got Louisiana, we've got a couple states we've got to paint in since COVID, but know that we could feel good, but when we walk in, we still have work to do. And I think it's a good reminder for all of us that we can't be satisfied. We've got to keep pushing.
Saying that we have work to do is like a good idea to kind of sum it all up and cap it all off.
And by the way, before I forget, you said you were going to take Alaska, right? Yeah, Alaska's yours. Alaska?
Did I
You
say
did.
Alaska's mine? Did I
Yeah.
say I was going to paint Alaska, or did I say I was going to get a client in Alaska?
You're gonna get a client in
All
Alaska.
right, I'm going to get a client in Alaska.
You could paint it in then as soon as you get it.
I remember that had to do with I think I remember the story now. Yeah, friend of mine going to Alaska, I think is what brought that up. I'll have to see if there's a way to turn her into a client.
First of all, you got to send her out with NX2 gear.
That's
true. What you got to do.
Well, she's already out there now, so I'm gonna have to send her. Send it out. Actually, would have left yesterday, so. But
you take Alaska, I'll take Hawaii.
You get the nicer one. This unfair.
Hey, when you got gray hair, you're allowed to make those decisions.
Well, this has been a whole lot of fun, but there is one thing I wanted to ask you about.